Hi, Jason. This is Roberta. I've tried to promote you 5 times to panelists and it's not working. Would you be able to leave and then try to join and see if that works?
Morning, Dad.
Morning.
Hi, this is Roberta. Is attendee SMH, is that Stacy Hatfield? If so, if you could raise your hand and then I'll rename you and promote you to panelist.
Roberta, it looks like we're just waiting for board member Walsh.
Yes, and I haven't seen him join as an attendee yet.
I'm sorry.
I haven't seen him join as an attendee yet.
Okay, we'll give him a couple minutes.
Thank you. Chair Galvin, I've texted Board Member Welsh, but I haven't heard back yet.
Thank you, Roberta. We'll give him a couple more minutes. He's usually pretty prompt.
Thank you.
Well, I don't want to keep all of you waiting, so I think we'll go ahead and call the meeting of the Contract Subcommittee to order and ask for a roll call, please.
Yes, Chair Galvin,
Here.
Board Member Badenfort,
Here.
Board Member Welsh.
Okay, thank you for all for being here this morning. Just a reminder to mute your phones or microphones when you're not speaking and to put away your cell phones and your personal computers. We'll now move to item 2 on the agenda, which is public comments. So we're taking public comments. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Atha?
We have no public comments.
Great. We will move then to item 3.1, Deputy Director Schiavone.
Thank you, Chair Galvin. Good morning, Board Member Unfort, all of the staff. Introducing item 3.1, project work order with West Yost and Associates for engineering design services for Carly and Peter Springs Well rehabilitation. Casey Claiborne, Associate Civil Engineer, will be presenting.
Welcome, Mr. Claiborne.
Thank you, Chair Galvin. Can you hear me well? Great, thank you. I'll go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. Today I'll be talking about our upcoming capital project at the Carly and Peter Springs Wells site and the design contract that we're moving forward with for West Yost Associates. So for context, we have a utility station that produces emergency groundwater currently, and that station has 2 groundwater wells. The Carly well, that just to a bit to the south of the other, that is on our city property, on a well station proper, and the Peter Springs well that is located in a vault in Peter Springs Park. And to the left of the image, you can see Herbert Slater Middle School as well. And then our site is located between Carly Road and Idaho Drive. Both of these wells are currently permitted for emergency water supply, but due to age and other factors, major improvements are needed to ensure reliable future operation of these emergency wells. Along with age and deterioration to natural aging, the station plumbing on our facility site has deformed due to differential ground movement, and this geotechnical problem has disconnected the Peter Springs well plumbing from the rest of the water system. And this geotechnical issue is such that we can't really rehabilitate the site and the underlying soils without rebuilding all the existing systems. So the objectives of this project are to ensure that the Carly well is a reliable source for emergency supply by resolving the geotechnical issue, replacing that existing aged Carly well, and providing supporting infrastructure to support emergency operation. We also aim to reconnect the Peter Springs well as a backup emergency water supply. So the existing Peter Springs well, with some modifications to bring it up to the most current standards. So it's currently permitted, it's still currently compliant, but we want to bring it all the way up to modern standards and connect it to support the Carly well, what will be the new Carly well, as an additional emergency water supply. During design, which will encompass site investigation, design of the wells, design of the facility, and then engineering services during construction. We'll be exploring certain added value items such as operational improvements, such as a second access driveway to improve the ability for maintenance trucks to drive through the site from one end to the other. And also the possibility of using this water supply to augment our regular water supplies during a drought. And so we'll be working with the consultant, with our in-house staff, and with DDW to understand what that would require and whether these wells can provide that sort of service, that sort of value to the city. So we'll start by identifying the exact cause of these geotechnical issues, that differential settlement that has essentially broken the building slab and disrupted the plumbing, and resolve those geotechnical problems so that they don't affect our site in the future. Along with that, we'll be removing the existing station building generator, pressure tank, and all the site piping. We'll be removing a number of redwood trees on site. They're roughly 10 trees. Some of them share a trunk, so it's not exact. But and then we'll be removing the existing Carly well, of course, following all the county and DDW's requirements for retiring a existing well. Then we'll be installing a brand new Carly well on that city parcel and obtaining a permit from the Department of Drinking Water. We'll be installing a new treatment system, which will include chlorination, along with any other treatment that's required to meet standards. We'll be installing entirely new electrical control systems and a VFD to replace the pressure tank, assuming that that's feasible. We'll be exploring that in early design. Be installing a new backup generator to provide emergency power supply. And then, of course, all the various other bits and bobs that go into a groundwater facility, fencing, paving, SCADA antenna, things like that. So this project, we're aiming to initiate the project come January, just as soon as everybody's signed off. And design should extend all the way through November 2023, because again, this contract does include engineering services during construction. And construction is anticipated in 2 phases. One next summer in roughly August of 2022. And that'll be to install the new Carly well on our site while still maintaining as much of the existing operation as we can. And the following summer, roughly May 2023, we'll aim to demolish the rest of the existing site and install an entirely new well station. There are a couple special considerations that are particular note for this site. On the photo on the right, you can see between 9 and 11 redwood trees. Currently, they just completely crowd the station building. They're planted so close to our existing facilities and on such a small parcel, there's just no alternative to removing those trees in order to complete this project. And with the trees and any project in general on such a small facility, we'll need to coordinate with the neighbors. So it's generally in a residential area, along with our other neighbors, Parks and Herbert Slater Middle School. So I want to make sure that those stakeholders are informed and that their concerns are heard. And with that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Claiborne. Any questions, comments from the subcommittee? I don't believe the board member Walsh has joined. So board member Badenford, I think it's you and I.
All right. Just a couple of comments. One, thank you. It's a great presentation, and the way the scope of work is actually set up, it's really clear, and I really appreciate the formatting of it. Actually, important project. Absolutely, of course, encourage you to be as assertive as possible in any exploration of additional supply at this time. I noticed in the scope of work, it says no meetings have been budgeted to receive city comments on the draft well drilling technical specifications. Because it's such a longer kind of project time horizon, is that something that you think is necessary? Is there enough in here? Does staff feel like that there is enough opportunity for staff to be able to engage with the contractor along the way? That's my question.
Thank you, Board Member Badenfort. Excuse me. It's always difficult to anticipate just exactly what level of effort will be required for various aspects of a project like this. However, I can say with confidence that we've been engaged in a great many discussions over many hours with West Yost to refine their scope of work once they were selected, and to just make sure that it's closely aligned with our project goals and the way that we develop capital improvements through the design phase. One reason they were selected is because we have a great measure of experience working with West Yost on similar projects, and we have confidence in their project management, and that they know what to expect from us as well.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. That's it from me, Chair Galvin.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Great presentation. I'm familiar with the sites. I actually grew up on Idaho Drive, so I know exactly where these wells are. So definitely supportive of the recommendation from staff. At this point, we'll go ahead and open up for public comments on item 3.1. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Atha, do we have anyone?
There are no public comments.
All right, in which case I will ask for a recommendation from Board Member Badenfort, which I will gladly second.
So moved.
All right, and seconded. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Chair Galvin,
Aye.
Board Member Badenfort.
Aye.
Great. Thanks again, Mr. Claiborne. We'll
Thank
now
you.
move to item 3.2. Deputy Director Schiavone.
Thank you, Chair Galvin. Item 3.2, emergency generators, amendment number 2 to the design professional services agreement. Adam Roush, Associate Civil Engineer, presenting.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Chair Galvin, Board Member Badenford.
Good morning. You didn't need to get so dressed up for us.
Any excuse will do.
Okay.
My name is Adam Roush. I'm an Associate Civil Engineer in the Transportation and Public Works Department. Today, I'm presenting a recommendation for approval of the Second Amendment to the Professional Services Agreement for design of the emergency generators at water and wastewater facilities. I'll discuss the need for this project, the scope of the project, project history, contract costs, and finally present our recommendation. This project would replace emergency generators at drinking water pump stations and sewer lift stations. These pumps maintain water pressure for our customers and for fire suppression and ensure wastewater makes its way to the treatment plant. So this is critical infrastructure. The pumps require electricity, and if grid electricity fails or is shut off, they rely on emergency generators. Currently, most of these generators either burn diesel or what we call dual fuel, able to burn natural gas or propane. In the 2017 Tubbs fire, however, PG&E shut off both electricity and natural gas. This highlighted two problems. First, it revealed logistical difficulties getting propane tanks refueled during and after a disaster. In short, the propane vendors didn't want to drive into these areas and fill the tanks. Second, it brought previously identified mechanical issues with the dual fuel generators to the fore. And broadly, the diesel generators in our fleet didn't experience these issues. So this project seeks to replace 18 emergency generators, mostly dual fuel, to increase the resiliency of this critical infrastructure. Of the 18 generators, 8 are located at water pump stations and 10 at wastewater lift stations. This split is represented in the location map at right, with water in blue and sewer in green. As mentioned, we're replacing mostly dual fuel generators, but there are 3 diesel generators that are in need of replacement, and they've been integrated into this project to capture economies of scale. In addition to the generators themselves, the project will replace transfer switches, portable generator connections, and ancillary components as necessary. So how will this make our critical systems more resilient? It increases power capacities, it decreases refueling challenges, and it replaces aging equipment. Transitioning to more modern equipment is also expected to decrease greenhouse emissions, which is one of the council's stated goals. In 2018, we applied for FEMA funds for this replacement, which were approved late in 2019. These funds are awarded by the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program administered through California Governor's Office of Emergency Services, or Cal OES. They cover between 69% and 75% of certain costs, including design. Earlier this year, we applied for a scope change and budget increase, which has since been approved. And this raised the reimbursement cap for this project from $3.5 million to $6.5 million. On the design side, the city has awarded a professional services agreement to Brelgy and Race in June 2020. In March of this year, we amended the PSA, Amendment 1, to study additional emergency pumps for wildfires. This study was fruitful. New pump arrangements at pump station 16 and 17 could move an additional 1,500 gallons per minute to the high elevation tanks along Fountain Grove Parkway. From a firefighting capacity, this is equivalent to a tanker truck arriving every 20 to 30 seconds. As expected, larger pumps would require larger generators, and these larger generators will require larger generator buildings. So that's the first part of this amendment. And as the need for these new buildings was identified after the FEMA scope change application, these buildings are outside the current scope of the FEMA grant and not currently eligible for reimbursement. The second part is, as design progressed, we've also identified electrical, architectural, and structural elements that will be necessary to integrate the new, mostly larger generators into our existing infrastructure. These include roof replacements at 3 of the pump stations, building modifications at 5 stations, additional transfer switches, transformers, concrete slabs, fuel systems, and other various components. As these elements are necessary for the generator installation, they are within the current scope of the FEMA grant. They were also identified prior to the scope change application, so we were able to include those specifically in that application. So Amendment 2 would provide for design for both the buildings at 16 and 17, as well as the design of all these additional elements we've identified. Cost. The original design PSA had a maximum cost of $485,500. That was in good agreement with our initial engineering estimate. The recommended amendment would add $261,300 to this contract. Of that, roughly 60% is eligible for FEMA reimbursement, keeping the reimbursable total for design well below the FEMA approved budget for design. And as typical, this approval would have no budget impact, as funds for the project were appropriated in previous capital improvement plan. So this is critical infrastructure. We can make it more resilient. We have a designer on board and we have funding in place. Thus, the Transportation, Public Works, and Water Departments recommend that the Contract Review Subcommittee support execution of a second amendment to the professional services agreement with Brelje and Race Consulting Engineers for design services on backup generators, water and wastewater facilities. Thank you. And I can take any questions or comments now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roush. I'll open it up for any board or committee questions, comments. Board Member Badenford.
Thank you, Chair Galvin. Thank you, Adam, for the presentation. Also a great one. I'm Director Burke and Acting Director Schiavone were kind enough to take BPU members on a tour on in some of these areas. As a new board member, it was a great help to me, actually. And I'm thrilled to support it and see it coming forward today. Also congratulate you on securing and handling the FEMA side of life.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks so much. That's it for me, Chair Galvin.
Thank you. I'm also fully supportive of this. We learned, unfortunately, during the wildfires, the problems we had with our system, and obviously these backup generators are going to greatly enhance our abilities to deal with wildfires in the future. Hopefully we don't have them, but at least we'll be ready for them. So at this point, we'll open it up for public comments on item 3.2. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Atha?
There are no public comments.
All right. Board Member Badenford, you want to make a recommendation?
I certainly do. I will so moved, or if you'd like me to read the whole thing, that's fine.
No, I think that's fine. And I will second that. And we will now have a roll call vote.
Chair Galvin?
Aye.
Board Member Badenford?
Aye.
Great. All right. Thank you, Mr. Roush. Appreciate it. Good luck with the project. We'll now move to item 3.3. Deputy Director Schiavone.
Thank you, Chair Galvin. Item 3.3, Second Amendment to Professional Services Agreement F002157 for construction management and inspection to contract 202201 Sky Farm and Hansford Court Lift Station reconstruction. Item 3.3 will be presented by Jason Roberts, Supervising Engineer with Capital Projects.
Thank you, Deputy Director Schiavone. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. Good morning, Chair Galvin and Board Member Badenford. I'm here to propose a recommendation for Second Amendment to Professional Services Agreement for construction management and inspection for the Sky Farm and Hansford Court Lift Station reconstruction project. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, let's see. Hold on here. Everybody see that okay? Great.
Yes.
So I will do a quick overview and of the project. So in 2017, the Tubbs fire destroyed 2 sewer lift stations in the Fountain Grove neighborhood. These lift stations are critical for getting sewer to the treatment plant. You'll see in the upper left is Sky Farm A, and the lower left is Hansford Court. Fire came through pretty hard and destroyed both of those lift stations. In July of 2020, a construction contract was executed with Pacific Infrastructure to rebuild both sewer lift stations. And at that time, the city sought a professional services agreement for construction management and inspection of the project. Quick background on the locations. You can see in the top of the screen there, Sky Farm A lift station off St. Andrews Drive and Sky Farm Drive, and Hansford Court over there on the right side off Fountain Grove Parkway and end of Hansford Court. So a quick background, RFP was released in January 2014 for CM and inspection services. Coastal and Civil Engineering was selected, and BPU awarded that contract in June of 2020. In June of 2021, the first amendment was executed under Assistant City Manager authority. And basically, there were pandemic-driven supply chain issues that resulted in the need to extend not only the construction contract, but the CM and inspection contract as well. This second amendment will somewhat do the same thing. There are additional supply chain issues. Also, there have been weather days that have been added to the contract and some last minute design and construction changes. So this second amendment will accommodate an additional 51 working days and to get the contract to the end of the estimated construction completion date, end of January 2022. So the recommendation of the Transportation and Public Works Department and Water Department is that the contract review subcommittee support the approval of Amendment 2 to PSA F002157 for construction management and inspection of construction contract C02201, Sky Farm A and Hansford Court Lift Station, for a total contract amount not to exceed $490,000. $490,029.43. We'll add that on there. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. So this is basically just adding some days and $64,000 to the original contract. Is that correct?
That's correct. The original amendment was just under $100,000. So Ward Authority went to Assistant City Manager. This one, of course, putting it over that threshold. And so we're bringing it to the board for approval.
Okay, I don't think I have any issues or concerns. Board Member Badenford?
No concerns at all. Thanks so much, Jason.
Thank you.
Very good. Then we will open it up for public comments on item 3.3. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Atha?
There are no public comments.
All right, Board Member Badenfort, would you like to make a motion to have the recommendation?
Certainly, I will, so moved.
And I will second that. At this point, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Chair Galvin,
Aye.
Board Member Badenfort.
Aye.
Great. Thank you again, Mr. Roberts. We appreciate it. And we'll now move to item 3.4. Deputy Director Schiavone.
Thank you, Chair Galvin. Item 3.4, First Amendment to Professional Services Agreement F001094 with Community Action Partners of Sonoma County. Stacy Hatfield, Admin Technician, presenting.
Welcome, Ms. Statfield.
Thank you. Let me just get my screen share happening here. Are you seeing my desktop or are you seeing my presentation? I apologize.
We've got your presentation, it looks like. First
Okay.
slide is the H2O program.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Hello and good morning, BPU Contract Review Subcommittee. Thanks for having me today. Today, I'm here to present the First Amendment to the Community Action Partnership Agreement. CAP is the nonprofit organization that supports us with the Help to Others program, which provides assistance with water and sewer bills for low-income customers. We currently work with and would like to continue partnering with Community Action Partnership for the Help to Others program. This program was initially introduced as a pilot program in 2015 and continues as an ongoing program with minor changes. For several years, the state of California has been discussing various proposed legislation related to low-income programs. Therefore, we anticipate possible changes to our H2O program in the future to comply with regulatory changes that come. We would like to provide consistency to our customers that rely on this program by continuing with the status quo until that time. Community Action Partnership was originally selected through a competitive RFP process. They provide services for many programs that serve low-income households and have experience processing private customer information for many of these programs. Due to their relationship with the community, they're also able to spread the word regarding the H2O program through outreach already being done for other programs that they support. They process all of our income verifications, provide fact-checking, and budget classes for potential H2O participants. As a side note, Community Action Partnership just launched a new online application process to increase accessibility for customers and streamline the application process. The H2O program was originally a pilot program that has gone on longer than anticipated. The program, is successfully serving over 600 customer accounts, and we would like to continue providing this service. The main change with this amendment is to remove the not to exceed amount that is indicated on the original agreement. There have been increases based on CPI each year, as stated in the agreement. And as a result of the additional years of the program has been running, the not to exceed amount in the original agreement is no longer sufficient to provide full compensation. With the amendment, we can continue to provide increases based on CPI and continue the program as currently designed until such time regulation is passed that may require changes. This slide is being provided to demonstrate that the program funds are sufficient to cover the yearly increases for the foreseeable future. Help to Others currently provides assistance for 615 accounts. We get approximately 14 new customers added each month with an average of about 6 customers closing their accounts. In addition to the overall increase in the number of participants and the increased administrative costs for the H2O program, the funding source also increases annually and continues to readily cover the amount of the program. Therefore, we are recommending the change to the, with the amendment. Thanks for your time and let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Board Member Badenford, any questions, comments?
No, just sure. Thank you very much. I'm supportive of the continuation. I'm happy to see and to hear that they're moving forward with an online application and kind of growing the accessibility as much as they can. So happy to support it moving forward.
Me also, I think, the fact that we're continuing to support 600 plus members of the community, and it seems to fluctuate in and out, and we add some people and we get some people out of the program, makes it well worthwhile. So I'm supportive of it as well. At this time, we'll take public comments on item 3.4. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Atha?
We have no public comments.
All right, Board Member Badenfort.
Happy to move. So moved.
And I will second. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Chair Galvin,
Aye.
Board Member Badenford.
Aye.
Very good. All right, thank you, everyone. I believe that concludes our agenda. So we'll adjourn the meeting and see most of you a week from tomorrow at our regular BPU meeting. So enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.